on a very quiet residential street. We're now panning down to the end of the house, and it's very difficult to see, but back in there is where a master suite was added on some probably 18 years ago. From the street, it's hard to realize that there is a lovely lake that the house overlooks, but we'll walk towards the house and soon into the house, and you'll see the view come up. We are at the front door now. We will enter the house, and as we approach, you can see we are facing the lake, and the hallway opens out into the living area, and you see the lake. And seeing some of the beautiful fall colors. Float is still in, hasn't been taken out yet. I'm going to try to give you a little better idea of what the living room looks like. It's going to be a little difficult because of the changes from the light that comes in through the glass into the darker interior of the house, but maybe we can accomplish this. We've been often asked as to how the house was built here, why it was built here. We did not build it. We bought it from the original owners, and the story we heard from them was the lady, the wife, really was into modern architecture. This is way back in 1947, and she knew that Gropius had just started the Architects Collaborative in Cambridge. So she called him and talked to him on the phone and asked him would he be interested in building the house, and he said, well, why don't you come in and sit down and talk about it, which she did. And she arrived, and one of the first questions she asked him was, how much did you pay for the land? And she told him, and he said, oh, it's too much money, no land's worth that. And she left the interview and thought, well, that's the end of that. Well, about a week later, he called her and said, I've been thinking, Mrs. Catherine, I'd like to come down and walk your land, which he did. And after walking the land, he turned to her and he said, no. He says, you did not pay too much money for this land. He says, we would like to build your house. And that's how it got built. We're now in the kitchen area looking into the living room area. You can see there's sort of a pass-through which can be shut off if you wanted to. We just never do. And way in the distance there, you can see there's a spiral staircase that goes downstairs. And downstairs is a den with a fireplace and a bath with shower stall, which makes an excellent den, study, or extra guest room. We are now in the dining room, which we did add on. It was one of the first things we did after we bought the house, because we do like an element of formal dining. And the room has worked out exceedingly well. It's a spacious room. We happen to have a lot of antiques, and the room takes the antiques very well. Now I'm shooting from the other end of the dining room, looking out again at the magnificent view of the lake that we have from virtually every aspect of the house. I am now standing in the entrance hall, looking down the side hall where the bedrooms are located. Off in the far door at the end is the door that goes to the master suite. The house is full of innovations for the time. For example, on the left you can see there's a guest room, and that has sort of jealousy windows that crank open. So from the guest room you can also see this wonderful view of the lake. Down around what looks like a corner there are two children's rooms, which my wife, who is an artist, presently uses as a studio. Again, you can see how all this looks out on the view. There's the view from the hall with the bedrooms. And again, shooting up the hall from the entrance to the master bedroom. We're now at the end of the hall, and we're going to walk into the master bedroom suite that was added on, as I say, about I think 18 years ago, roughly, and makes a terrific living area. As you can see, we have a very comfortable couch in the living room part of the master suite. Again, the view is just spectacular, and we have a television and stereo surround and hi-fi system over here. Again, the view from the living area of the master suite. And down here we have Mort again, our cat, who appears to be enjoying the television, which is not on. Again, you're looking down from the master suite towards the living room. The master suite also looks out onto a play yard, which is the only grass that we have in the whole acre of land. And now you're looking into the bedroom, which can be totally screened off from the living area. There's ample closet space, and there's the door to the suite's own bathroom. We're now outside on the deck, on the porch, I mean on the patio rather, outside the master bedroom suite. You can hear Morty in the background making his noise as usual. See if you can get a picture of Morty in here. Where'd you go? There you are. There's Morty. Yeah. Now we're looking up through the woods. The house. Morty's still following me. Another angle of the house. Beautiful fall day today. Just the right temperature. This is Columbus Day weekend. One we're spending here in Foxborough rather than Nantucket because the bathroom is being rebuilt out there. Now shooting from the living room out across the deck. And the same view from the dining room. Private Association beach area, which is just about is exactly one house away from our house. We will enter and walk down the path. As you see as we start walking down the path is the lake and the association beach. The association, which is a not-for-profit corporation, owns 60 acres on the bottom of the lake, and the lake is kept completely private. We can keep it completely private because it does not fall within the confines of the Great Pond Act of Massachusetts. The Great Pond Act of Massachusetts says that anything over, I think it's 11 acres, if it's a natural body of water, must have public access. Well, this is not a natural body of water. This was actually built as a factory pond to power the factories that were on this lake at one time to manufacture straw bonnets back in the late 1800s. Foxborough at that time was the straw bonnet capital of the world. And because it is a totally private lake, we can therefore mandate that there's no power boats on the lake, only canoes, small sailboats, rowboats, and we keep the lake relatively clean of weeds. We have a weed control program that's in effect, and it's excellent swimming. In the wintertime, of course, there's ice skating and occasionally ice fishing when the conditions are not good for the ice skating. Here is what you're looking at is the beach house, which is what has 2 changing rooms in it and a bathroom for use by the members. Here again is another view of the beach house, and as I swing around, you're going to see our house come in view vaguely in the distance. It's very hard to see our house because it sort of fades into the woods, but you're looking directly at it right now from the Association Beach area. Well, I'm now down at the beach. You can see the dock and the float, and we have benches placed around. We bring in sand roughly every other year. This keeps a nice sandy area here at the beach, plus the sand drifts down into the water, so the bottom of that lake, out almost to where the float is a nice sandy bottom. I think you can notice that it's virtually impossible to see any houses on this lake. They're all year-round houses, and they're sheltered back into the woods and definitely not prominent. People often tell us there's a feeling here of a lake or pond in Maine. This little house here also belongs to the association. It's more of a lean-to. I'll walk around in a few minutes. You can see we have picnic tables in there. We have a fireplace in there, and in the wintertime, when there's skating parties down here, it's a place to get some warmth and a cup of hot chocolate. In the forefront is our cookout area. Again, all kept in a very rustic mode. Here is that lean-to I told you about. It originally was a little cabin down here, which years ago a gentleman built for himself. When the association was given the cabin, we decided it was just too much temptation for shenanigans or whatever, so we elected to tear it halfway down and make it sort of a lean-to area for gatherings, and that's worked out quite well. Okay, now I'm standing on the end of the dock looking back at the Association Beach and the little lean-to house, and I'm going to give you a roughly 360-degree panorama of the lake. Again, calling your attention to the fact that you can virtually see no residences. In fact, I'm not sure you can see a residence from this particular location. Most of the land you're looking at now is privately owned, probably not buildable, although some of it might be. There's no indication that it will be. And directly across, we're looking at what is the Gilbert Hill Foxborough State Forest, which gives absolute complete protection again to that side of the lake. This land here is definitely not buildable. The family that owns it purposely built their house in such a way at the end of this property up on Granite Street so that there would be no access to that point. You can see sort of a house back in there, and there's a tennis court across there, which is privately owned. The lake bends around at this point up there, and there's another little sort of jut to it that you can't really see. Our house, which is be coming up in a few minutes, at least the location of our house, is built at the end of the cul-de-sac at the point you're looking at now, and the lake is sort of on both sides of that cul-de-sac. Okay, you're now looking up at our house from here, You can sort of make it out from the glass especially. There's the living room area, some of the bedroom areas in the hallway, and the master bedroom. We'll complete this. We are now back at the Association Beach, where we started our journey.